All right, all right, all right. All right. Shalom, Israel. You're on live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War, holding down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Memphis. The address to the Memphis school is 3000 Walnut Grove Road. Again, it's 3000 Walnut Grove Road. Classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For all you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you have family, loved ones, people in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas that you care about, get them in contact with the Israelite School of UPK. Since 1969, the ISUPK been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is here on this earth. Hold on. And so what we do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible, to gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has placed therein in order to facilitate us coming back to being the people that the Most High called us to be. In these days and times, black man, there is a place for you on the earth that the Most High has established. For you so-called Latinos and Native American Indians, there is a place on this earth that the Most High has established for you. And in these days and times that we are living in, we must come to the realization that there's only one place for us on this earth, and that's in service and obedience to the Most High and our King Yahushua, who the world calls Christ. And this Bible is a blueprint for living a righteous life. This Bible is a blueprint for prospering on the earth. This Bible is a blueprint for pleasing the Father who created all of us and gave us life. And in return for that, we are to reap all of the rewards and the benefits and the inheritance that comes with being good children. And so these classes, man, we just want to allow brothers and sisters an opportunity to get a glimpse into what it looks like to live that life that the Most High chose for you, to be that brother and that sister that the Most High raised you up to be. And that's what is our purpose, and that is what is our responsibility as men of the Lord in this ISUPK. As I do at the beginning of every class, I like to open it up to questions. If any brothers or sisters have any questions, all you gotta do is type them in the chat online. If you have any questions in the room, all you have to do is raise your hands. All right. Tonight I got a breakdown prepared. The title of the class is "The Truth is the Most High's Work." You understand? The truth is the Most High's work. We're going to do a breakdown of First Corinthians, the 9th chapter and the 10th chapters. All right. And in these chapters of the letter that Paul wrote to the school that was in Corinth, we're going to get some understanding of why it's important to recognize that the truth is the Most High's work. When you in the ISUPK, when you see us out there on the streets, and when you hear us speak in these classrooms, and when you come in and you become a part of this body and become a part of this family, you'll continually hear repeated from men in this school that this is the Lord's work. You understand? Or a brother will offer you some congratulations, or will say, "Hey man, that was a good thing you did. That was amazing what you did, brother." You'll always hear brothers in the ISUPK say, "Man, that wasn't me. That was the Lord." You understand? And tonight we're going to get a full understanding of where that spirit and where that acknowledgement comes from, and why it is absolutely necessary for a man and a woman who's walking on the path of righteousness to recognize the work of the Most High. All right. So I'm going to give brothers and sisters an opportunity to come with any questions that they may have. If we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and get into the breakdown. All right. We'll give you about 30 seconds, then we're going to go to the first scripture. All right. With that, we can go ahead and go to First Corinthians chapter 9. All right. First Corinthians chapter 9. All right. So this is starting off verse 1 again. This is going to be a breakdown on the work. The truth is the work of the Most High. All right. So this First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 1 says, Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, our Ottawa? Are not ye my work in the Most High? All of these questions are Shalaki. They are what's the word I'm looking for? Uh Not facetious. These are questions that cannot think of the word. These are questions that you already know the answers to. Everybody understands. Paul is not asking a question. It's a rhetorical question. You understand? It's not a question that needs an answer. It's a question that everybody knows the answer to. Everybody understands. Am I not an apostle? The answer is yeah, you an apostle. Am I not free? The answer is yeah, no, you free. Have I not seen Yahweh Shah Mashiach our Adawan? Yeah, you saw him. You told us you saw him in a vision. Are not ye my work in the Most High? Yeah, we here because of the work that you did. That's what he's writing in this letter. Verse 2. If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. These other people may not see me as an apostle. These people outside of this school, they may not see me as an apostle of the Most High. But doubtless I am to you. It's without a doubt that you all know that I'm an apostle. For the seal of mine apostleship are ye in the Most High. You are the evidence of my apostleship. Your presence in the truth, your presence serving the Lord is the evidence that I'm an apostle. You understand? You're my seal. You what certified me. Because I raised you brothers and sisters up in this school of Corinth, my status as an apostle is certified. That's what he's saying. Verse 3. Mine answer to them that do examine me is this. For those who would question my authority, or those who look at me and say, who is this Paul nigga? Who he think he is? This is my response to them. Verse 4. Have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Most High, and Cephas? The answer is yes, we have that power. He's asking rhetorical questions. Or I only and Barnabas have not we power to forbear working? No, it's not just you and Barnabas that have the power. It's not just you and Barnabas that have to work. You know what I'm saying? Have not we power to forbear working, meaning we don't have the power to stop working. He's saying me and Barnabas the only ones that can do this work? The answer is no. Verse 7. Who goeth a warfare any time at his own charges? Who goes to war for his own payment? Who pays himself to go to war? At this time, soldiers were for hire. Soldiers weren't going to war for themselves. Soldiers was going to war to get paid. Everybody understands. They weren't paying themselves. Who planted a vineyard and eateth not of the fruit thereof? Or who feedeth a flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock? Who puts in work and expects to get nothing in return, is what he's saying. The answer is nobody. Everybody would say, no, nobody do none of these things for no reason. Verse 8. Say I these things as a man, or saith not the law the same also? Am I being carnal by saying I should get something out of all the work that I put in? Am I carnal for saying I'm old and I deserve a reward for all my hard work? Or does the law say the same thing? Verse 9. For it is written in the law of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. Does the Most High take care of the oxen? What does that mean? There was a law that you could not starve your animals to death. You got an ox out there in the field plowing in the dirt, then that ox better have his mouth open to be able to eat and to be able to graze and to be able to be fed. You can't have no animal just out there working and you don't feed the animal. Those was laws in the Bible to take care of your properties and your possessions and all the things that the Most High put on the earth. So Paul is saying, doesn't the Most High take care of the oxen? Verse 10. Or saith he it altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that plows should plow in hope, and that he that threshes in hope should be partaker of his hope. What does that mean? Everybody who puts in work expects to be rewarded. Everybody who puts in work expects to reap some benefit. Everybody understands? Verse 11, if we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? If we've given you the truth, if we taught you how to live your life righteously, we taught you how to obey the Most High, taught you how to fight depression, taught you how to fight insecurity, taught you how to fight oppression of the white man, taught you how to get over drugs, taught you how to not be an alcoholic. Shall we not reap your carnal things? Shouldn't we get your tithes? Shouldn't we get your offering? Shouldn't we get the things that you're able to give because of all the hard work we put in? Verse 12, if others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Who else has power over you to take of your carnal things? Who has power over you to be able to benefit from what you have to give? The oppressor benefits. You can spend all your goddamn check buying new clothes and buying new shoes. Spend all your money on the goddamn video games and the cell phone. Spend all your money paying the car note and paying the taxes. Well, damn, shouldn't the men of the Lord get something for all their hard work? Shouldn't the men of the Lord reap some kind of carnal benefit from all the spiritual things that they are making happen? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Christ. We don't force you to have to pay anything. We don't force you to have to give your carnal things. We don't force you to do anything. All we do is say, brothers and sisters, support the truth. Brothers and sisters, man, help this work continue to go out. Help these brothers continue to raise up these nations. Raise up this nation and raise up these schools. That's what the Passover fee is about. You understand? That's what the priest offering is about. That's what send a donation for this. So make sure y'all get y'all tickets for that. That's what it's all about. Being able to gather together April 1st for the Passover is made possible by the support of the brothers and the sisters in the school. It's made possible by us reaping the carnal things for all the spiritual work that we have done. We could still be having a Passover in little, 200 person rooms. I've been in the truth long enough that I've seen we had Passover at the Alhambra before the Alhambra Ballroom, the Audubon Ballroom. Audubon Ballroom is the room that Malcolm X was murdered in. My first Passover was in the Audubon Ballroom, in the very room where Malcolm X was murdered. That get your hand out my pocket, nigga room. That was my first Passover. That room maybe fit, 150 people. But because of the work of the Most High, because of all the toiling and all of the putting the plow to the tread that these men of the Lord have done over these years that I've been in the school, now we are going to have the Passover at the Raleigh Convention Center that fits about 3,500, 5,000 people. I've been in the truth for 12 years. We've gone from the Audubon Ballroom, which you can go look it up online. It's a ballroom in Harlem, New York, fits about 150 people, to now we are in a 4,000, 5,000 capacity convention center. And it is an amazing, glorious, beautiful thing that's done in the name of the Most High, because the work that we have been doing is His and His alone. Everybody understand? So Paul is breaking down how everybody who puts in work expects a reward. Everybody who puts in work expects to be paid in measure. And for this work that we do for the Lord, we don't force anybody with the power that we have, but we suffer all things lest we should hinder the gospel of Christ. Everybody understands? Verse 13, do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers of the altar? Do you understand that? You understand? What did it mean to minister about holy things, live of the things which are the temple? The priests back in the day who lived in the temple, and their job day and night was to clean the temple and to read the law and to send up the prayers and to burn the incense and to make sure that all of the silverware, all of the ornaments were decorated and was polished. Those men had jobs to keep that temple looking beautiful, keep that temple smelling great, keep those sacrifices burning on that altar. And guess what? That's how they lived. Because the people that came to that temple would pay their tithes and they would leave offerings and they would give alms. That is what took care of the priests. So the men whose job it was to do the service of the Lord, they lived by that service of the Lord. They didn't have any other job. So the roof over their head, the food on their plate, the clothes on their back came from that work they did in the temple. The Bible tells you about giving the offerings that go on the altar. The priests ate the meat that came off that altar. Those sacrifices didn't just get burnt up and that was it. No, those sacrifices, I said it before. This most simple way to imagine the altar that was in the Temple of Solomon is to imagine a giant grill. That's what it was. It's a giant grill with coals and with heat, and there were bars on there, and that's where the sacrifices would lay. They would kill a goat, they would skin it, they would season it up, they would throw it on that grill. And that sweet savor, that sweet smell of that burning went up to heaven and it pleased the Lord. But those sacrifices, after they got cooked, they were taken by the offerers and they were taken by those who ministered on the altar. And that is the food that they ate. Everybody understands? Verse 14. Even so has the Most High ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than any man should make my glorying void. Paul said, listen, man, I ain't told y'all to pay me no money. I didn't charge y'all for this work that I did. And I'm not writing this letter to tell you that I'm charging you now. Because I'll be damned if anybody gets to void my glorying. I glory in serving the Lord and the Lord looking out for me and the Lord taking care of me. I glory in doing this work and never having to worry about where my food comes from or where my clothes come from or how I keep a roof over my head. This right here goes back to what Christ said about the Son of Man not having a place to stay. Let me hold this right quick. Let's get Matthew chapter 8, verse 20. Matter of fact, this is Luke chapter 9, verse 58. Luke 9 and 58 says, Luke 9 and 57. And it came to pass that as they went in the way, a certain man said unto him, Lord, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Yahushua said unto him, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has not where to lay his head. What was Christ saying? Listen, brother, I don't know if you understand what it means to follow me. Hell, the foxes have holes and the birds have nests, but the Son of Man don't even got a place to stay. I ain't even got a roof over my head, brother. I don't know if you ready to roll or like how I roll. And for most men to hear that, they would stand down. They would say, you know what, I'm just gonna keep living this life that I've been living, watching classes online and serving the Lord. And there's other men that say, brother, if you ain't got nowhere to lay your head, then I don't have nowhere to lay my head neither. So lock it. You don't have nowhere to lay your head. When I'm not having nowhere to lay my head right along with you. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to go through that. And that's part of being in the truth, man. There's things that brothers have had to endure. And they endured it gleefully, knowing that they were enduring the Lord. Everybody understands. This brother, Christ explained it to this brother, it's rough out here. Everybody understands. So let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16. Shalakim. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. Paul said, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, meaning I preach the gospel, but I ain't got no big house. I ain't got no nice car. I ain't got no, fancy clothes that I wear. I ain't got no name brand designer clothes. He ain't got nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon him. He does this job because he has to. He doesn't do this job to get paid. He doesn't do this job because it put money in his pocket. He does this job because he has to do this job. Necessity is laid upon him. You understand? Woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. Paul said, if I don't preach, I'll be destroyed. Verse 17. Shulakim. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. Everybody understand? Paul said, if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if I do this and I don't want to do it, then the dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. Meaning what? Then he is going to befall, the things are going to befall him that comes from that standing on the gospel. Everybody understand? Paul is saying, I suffer what I suffer, man, and I'm proud. I'm happy to do it. If I wasn't happy to serve the Lord, then I would suffer. I would suffer the things that you are learning about in this gospel. Everybody understands? What is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. It is abusive to charge people to hear the truth, to charge people to receive, you understand, these basic instructions. That's why in the UPK, we don't charge for counsel. We don't make you set up an appointment and pay to get counsel in the name of the Lord. No, that work is the Lord's work and it is free. That counsel is the Lord's counsel and it is free. Everybody understand? Charging for it would be an abuse of the power in the gospel. Verse 19, for though I may be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all that I may gain the more. Meaning I don't owe anybody anything, but I hold myself accountable to everybody because that is what the Lord has risen me up to do. Verse 20, and unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I may gain them that are under the law. To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to God, but under the law to Christ, that I might gain them that are without the law. What is Paul saying? I didn't owe anybody anything. You understand? But because of this work, I made myself a servant to everybody, to the whole nation. And in his service to the nation, Paul is saying, I did whatever it took, man. I became as a Jew to the Jew, that I might gain them. I became as one who was not under the law, so that I may gain them that's under the law. You understand? I became as one following one with the law, meaning with the punishments waiting for me. He became as one of them to win those over who lived that way. He became as one who was raised without the law, brother who was raised from another country, another land, so that he could win them over by teaching them, brother, I know what you've been through. I know what you got going on. I've been in your shoes before. Paul is saying I did these things for them. I became like them so I could deliver them. Verse 22, to the weak became I as weak, that I may gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. I became whatever I needed to whatever brother I was speaking to, so that I could win them over, so that I could get them on my side. As this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. It's my job to do all these things so that I can partake, you understand, in the goodness of, in the good news along with you. Your job be you coming in just to hear it and change your life. I'm here to teach it to you. And guess what? We both are partakers of the gospel. Everybody understands? Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receives the prize? Everybody understands this is a race, brother. Don't you know that everybody that runs a race, everybody, they all running, but there's just one prize. You understand? That's life. Life is a race. And at the end of this race, there's a prize. Everybody has a prize waiting for them. Verse at the end of 24, so run that ye may obtain. Paul is saying you better run this race like you serious. You better get in this game of life like you serious. You better get on this path of righteousness like somebody who want to be here. Why? Because that's when the Most High gonna shine on you. That's when the Most High gonna bless you. That's when the Most High gonna open up doors and open up opportunities for things that you never imagined were possible. Why? Because you've submitted yourself to the Most High and allowed yourself to be in a position to be used as a vessel. Verse 25, and every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. You understand? Every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. What does that mean? What is a man that strives for mastery? A man that's wanting to be great at something. You want to be great at basketball, you want at basketball court, you drilling that basketball, you doing workouts, you running drills. You understand? You are you're striving for mastery in basketball. Football, you out there running drills. You understand? You're in the damn heat of the middle of the summer, doing 2-a-days. You know what I'm saying? Running laps and doing burpees and push-ups and sit-ups and in the weight room and watching film. Why do you do that? Because you want to master being a football player. Whatever you do in life, do it to the master level. Everybody understand? Verse 1 Corinthians 9 and 25. So like that's what it means. Every man that strives for mastery is temperate. Temperate means to be like level-headed or in control of your emotions. And that's somebody who's, quick to spaz out or quick to go off. That's the opposite of temperate. Everybody understands. Now, they that do it to obtain a corruptible crown. So these brothers that's in the gym working out, these football players, basketball players getting their workout on, they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. But we incorruptible. You understand? You in the gym right now working out, then guess what? You're doing it to win. You're doing it to be the best. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So what are we practicing for? What are we striving for righteousness for? What are we fighting and toiling and overcoming our demons for? We're doing it for an incorruptible crown. We're doing it for a life of eternity in the kingdom of heaven. We're doing it so that we can reap all the benefits that the Most High gave us. Everybody understands? Verse 26, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I not as one that beateth the air alone. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Everybody understand? So Paul is saying the same way that the brothers in the gym is working out trying to master that, and the brothers in the playing basketball, football trying to master that. I'm in here trying to master serving the Lord. I'm in here trying to master being an apostle so that what? I can get an incorruptible crown. You understand? He's saying I fight and I run, but not as one that beats the air. I'm not somebody that's just fighting the air or out of control or out of frustration. I'm not doing this out of frustration. No. I'm doing this because I keep my body under subjection, lest by any means when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Paul is saying, I watch over myself, man, to make sure I don't get caught up in the pitfalls and caught up in the traps. I make sure that I don't get caught up in the things that's holding my brothers and sisters back, because if I get caught up in them, all this hard work will be for nothing. Everybody understands. That's what I keep under my body and bring it into suspicion, lest that by any means when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Everybody understands. So this is about the work of the Lord. Everybody who puts in work expects to get something out. Nobody is working for no reason. We striving for mastery and righteousness so that we can have a kingdom. striving in mastery for righteousness so that we can get an incorruptible crown. But everybody that strives, everybody that's fighting, everybody that's toiling, you're expecting to get results. You're expecting to get something in return for all of your hard work, and that is spiritual. Everybody understands? All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10. We're going to read through this chapter. Chapter 10, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant. I don't want you to be ignorant. I don't want y'all to not know how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. All of our fathers, they was under that cloud that led them out of the wilderness. They were gathered together under that cloud and passed through the sea. Meaning what? When the river Jordan split, that cloud was above us. We walked under that cloud and walked through that sea that had been split. Everybody understands? Salaki. Verse 2. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Yahushua. Everybody understands? All right, so it's telling you what happened during the time of the Exodus when we crossed over the River Jordan. Everybody understands, but it's putting a little bit of trying to think. It's putting a metaphor on it. When it says we were baptized in the water, meaning passing through that water that the Lord had held back, passing through that sea was like a cleansing for us. We came out on the other side of that river that had been parted clean. We were no longer attached to the Egyptians, no longer their servants, no longer their slaves, but now we were free. Now we were liberated. Now we were able to become the nation of the Lord. Everybody understands? So, lucky y'all, it's hot in here. That's why y'all keep hearing me yawn. That's why I keep my eyes can't focus. I need y'all to give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna go turn this AC on because it's killing me right now, y'all. So lucky about that. You know what I'm saying? It was warm here in Memphis. The springtime is back. This school we got here, I got to get this office used to the cool air because it is entirely too warm in here. So bear with me for 30 seconds, y'all. Salakia, y'all. Salakia. Salakia, y'all. I apologize for that. Damn. AC jammed up. That's why it's hot in here. AC ain't working. I couldn't get it cut on. So Salakia for that, y'all. A little bit more than the 30 seconds I said. We in 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. This is Paul breaking down what happened when we left out of Egypt and the spiritual nature of it and how it connects to the work of the Lord, all right? So we're going to start right there. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1. It says, moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant. I don't want y'all to not know how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. Everybody was under the cloud. Remember that pillar in the sky by day, pillar of smoke by day, and pillar of fire by night? Well, there was a cloud that was above that pillar that we followed. And when we got to the parting of the sea, that cloud was above the parting of the sea as we crossed over crossed over away from the Egyptians, right? Verse 2, and we're all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. Meaning what? We were cleansed to Moses. Moses cleansed us. We went from being Egyptians to now belonging to Moses. Everybody understands? And did all eat the same spiritual meat, meaning what? We all seen the same thing, experienced the same thing, did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. Everybody understands? They drank of the spiritual rock that followed them. You understand? And that rock was Christ, meaning what? The power that Moses had. The power to split a rock and have water to come out. That was the power of Yahushua. Everybody understands? Verse 5. But with many of them the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness, even though they did all eat the same spiritual meat and drank the same spiritual drink. The Most High was not pleased with everybody that crossed over away from Egypt. And that's why many were overthrown in the wilderness. Verse 6, now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. What happened to us in the wilderness was meant to be an example for us today. To not suffer from the lust they suffered from. What was the lust? Men wanted power in that wilderness. That's why they kept coming up against Moses. What did the Lord do? Killed them. Men wanted comforts, wealth and riches, and living nicely. So they rebelled against Moses when he went up on the mountain and told Aaron to make us a golden calf to go back to Egypt. The Lord killed some people during that time. They coveted the heathen garments, even though the Lord said to not take any of the possessions of the heathens. And men died for coveting that Babylonian garment. All the things that happened in the wilderness are meant to be examples for us of what not to do. Everybody understands? Verse 7, neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. That's talking about when Moses went up on the mountain, they went and ate and drank, and they rose up to make false gods to go back to Egypt. Verse 8, neither let us commit fornication as some of them committed and fell in one day 32,000 men died in one day. Why? For fornication, worshiping other gods. Verse 9, neither let us tempt Yahushua, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. When that disease came through and them snakes came up and was biting everybody, it was because of their disobedience to the Most High. It was because of their tempting the Most High in that wilderness. Guess what? We shouldn't be like them. Verse 10, neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. They murmured against Moses. They said Moses shouldn't have this power. Moses shouldn't be taking all of this responsibility for himself. Who died and made Moses the God over us? And they were destroyed for that, swallowed up in a pit in the ground. Everybody understands. Verse 11, now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. It was meant to admonish us, to correct us, to keep us in line, to keep us from going down the same path. Verse 12, wherefore let him that thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. You think you strong, brother, you standing? You should pay attention to the lessons of these brothers and sisters from back in the day, or else you'll fall just like they did. Verse 13, there has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. The Most High is going to allow you, you're going to be tempted, but the Most High going to always give you a way out, and he never going to tempt you with anything that you can't handle or you can't overcome. Everybody understand? Wherefore, because of that, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. There's no reason for you to be worshiping no false gods, man. There's no reason for you to be getting caught up in worshiping money and celebrating these holidays and celebrating your birthday or going to the strip club to worship some vagina. You shouldn't let anything have more power over you than your obedience to the Most High. Verse 15, I speak as to wise men. Judge ye what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Yahushua? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Christ? What does the word communion mean? That's important. What is the communion of the blood of Christ, and what is the communion of the bread of the body of Christ? And when you understand that word communion, then it makes sense what this is talking about. The Catholic Church does not understand the Bible. They don't understand communion. They don't understand the purpose of Christ breaking the bread and passing it to his brothers and said, when you eat this bread, think of me. They don't understand what he did when he poured the wine and he said, this is my blood that was shed for you. When you drink it, think of me. We're going to get an understanding tonight of the communion and how that applies to the lesson that Paul is breaking down. Communion is an act or instance of sharing. That's all communion is. Everybody understand? Communion is the act or instance of sharing. That is what communion is. So when Christ broke the bread and passed it to his disciples, he was sharing. When he said, this is my body, it will be breaking for you. He who partakes of this bread partakes of me. Christ was saying, I'm sharing myself with you. I'm sharing my love with you. I'm sharing my gift with you. Every time you share with one another, every time you come together and share with one another, think of me. This is my gift. This is my blood that is shed for you. He's pouring the wine. This is my blood that is shed of you. Every time that you drink this wine, think of me. This is my gift to you, the brotherhood, the coming together. I'm giving my body for you. I'm giving my blood for you. Whenever you sit down and eat and drink together, think of the gift that I gave you. Think of what I shared with you. That's communion. Everybody understands. It ain't no ookie spooky, we drinking his blood, we eating his body. No, we are remembering what he did for us. Remembering what he taught us. Remembering what he showed us by sharing. By not being too great of a man to think of the next brother. By not being too great of a man to be selfish with his own life. He gave his life for us. He shared what the Lord had given him with us. That's what communion is. Everybody understands. When you understand that, let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 15. I speak as to wise men. I'm speaking to men who know what I'm talking about. Judge ye what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? What is the blessing which we bless? When we come together and we drink and we raise a cup and we say, La Yasha Allah, what is that? To Israel. Are not we drinking this? Shalaki. Is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? Is it not the sharing of the blood of Christ? What does it mean to share the blood of Christ? We share in the brotherhood, share in the salvation, share in the righteousness. Christ wanted us to remember him. in every time we got together to have a drink. And by remembering him, we remember his righteousness. We remember his brotherhood. We remember his love for the nation, his love for the Most High. And it should make us want to be like him and do like him. Every time we come together and we break bread, we bless that bread. Christ wants us to think of him every time we eat together. Every time we have these feast days. Listen, man, here in Memphis, Tennessee, shout out to all the sisters in the Memphis, Tennessee school, man. Shout out to Sister Kapatazar, Sister Shakaya, Sister Shawaba, Sister Yum Yama. You understand? These sisters are heavy sisters, man. Hold it down for the work of the Lord. Listen, one day the Lord is going to allow you sisters to shine the way that you deserve. You understand? Because the Most High sees how pivotal you all have been in holding down this school and in keeping this thing up. You understand? And y'all been toiling behind the scenes for a long, long time. I thank the Most High, and I pray every day the Most High honors you all for the work y'all done. And trust me, the honor is coming. And it ain't going to be in the next kingdom or nothing like that. It's going to be for all of Israel to see very soon. You sisters are going to be honored for all of your hard work and your dedication. Everybody understands? But that is what the communion of Christ was about. Every time we come together and we break bread, every time I'm able to pay the rent in this school, every time we come and have a drink, that is the communion of Christ. We are sharing in the blessing that he gave us of the brotherhood and the sisterhood. We're sharing in the blessing that he gave us of knowing how to love one another, knowing how to take care of one another, knowing how to prefer one another. All of that, ain't that what it's all about? That's what Paul is asking. Ain't that what it's about when we come together and we eat and we drink? Isn't it to remember Christ? That's what 1 Corinthians 10 and 16 is. Verse 17, for we being many are one bread and one body. Even though it's a bunch of us, we in different places, man, we one family. We down here in Memphis, there's other brothers, Shabal is out there in Las Vegas. Got other brothers checking in from Philadelphia, brothers checking in from Texas. It's all the truth. It's all one body. This school in Memphis isn't special and unique from any of the other schools of the UPK because it's all the Spirit of the Lord that's building it up. Everybody understand? And that's what Paul is trying to get them to understand. For we are all partakers of the bread. Everybody understands. We all eat the same bread. So that means we all one. We all on the same accord. Verse 18, behold Israel after the flesh. Are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? The people, when they used to sacrifice, they would wait to get that meat off the grill. They would wait to get the sacrifice after it was burnt. The burnt offering, they waited to get a piece of it because that piece was owed to them. That's what they ate. They ate of the sacrifice. Verse 19, what say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered to sacrifice and sacrifice to idols is anything? You understand? He's saying, are not they that which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? You eat what's coming off that altar, you're partaking in the work that's done there, right? What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered and sacrificed to idols is anything? He's saying, which thing matters? The idol or the thing that's offered to the idol? Verse 20, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. That's why you shouldn't be at that Valentine's Day party. That's why you shouldn't be at that Christmas Day party. That's why you shouldn't be at that New Year's party. Everybody understands. You don't want to be partakers in the things sacrificed to devils. Everybody understands. Now, your grandmama cooked dinner on December 25th. That's dinner on December 25th. Everybody understands. Ain't nothing wrong with you getting a plate, getting you some food. They go to hold hands and they want to say a good old Christian prayer. Nah, yeah, I'm good on that. You go to anything with any Christians and they want to pray, you lead the prayer. And you pray, Most High, pray you allow this food to, bless our bodies and nourish our souls. And I pray, Father, that you have these brothers and sisters understand that you require obedience from them. Forgive our people, Lord, for their ignorance and not knowing who the devil is. And in not knowing that they are the chosen children. Like you lead a good, righteous prayer that'll make a Christian cringe. You understand? But don't you dare hold hands with no bunch of Christians and bow your head, because what they're sacrificing to devils. Everybody understand? And Paul said, I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Verse 11, verse 21, you cannot drink of the cup of the Most High and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Most High to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? The answer is hell no. Nah. The answer is yes, we provoke the Most High to jealousy. We are not stronger than him. Everybody understands. Verse 23, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are expedient. Everything I do is lawful, is what Paul is saying. But not everything I do is expedient. Not everything I do is what you should do. Not everything I do is what's necessary. You understand? There's some things that I do that you might not think should be done. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. You do your thing, I'm going to do mine. That's what Paul is saying. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Everything I do doesn't edify. But I'm not breaking any laws. You understand? And there's a lot of little things like that. There are things that you can do, things that are righteous, things that aren't wicked. But it doesn't mean that it's a doctrine. That doesn't mean everybody should follow and everybody should do it that way. There's a way that I go about meeting a woman and vetting her to see if she's fit to be a wife. And it works for me. That don't mean it works for you, brother. Don't do what I do. You might not be the man that I am. You might not know how to handle the situations and the circumstances that I can handle. But Paul is saying everything I do is righteous and honorable. But doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. Everybody understands. Verse 24, let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. What does that mean? Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. Don't be selfish, man. Don't be greedy. Don't just be out here thinking about you. Think about the nation. Think about your brothers. Think about your sisters. When I think about getting money, I don't think about getting money from y'all. I go to devise a business plan or go devise I want to, sell something. I don't think about just selling to y'all. I think about selling to these people in the world. I want these people in the world money. You understand? And that's not, again, all things are lawful to me. Not all things are expedient. That's just my way of thinking. If I got a business plan, I got a business idea, I think, how can I get these people in the world's money? It's enough of Israel's money being spent with Israel right now. Between all, the garments and the headpieces and the all of the stuff that brothers and sisters is paying each other for, I don't want to see another Israelite business taken, between us. I want a business that's catered towards people in the world. You understand? Give me some of them people in the world money. I don't want, y'all, I want to give y'all a good discount, a good brother sister price, and I want to charge these people in the world something. These angry shirts, y'all been seeing me wear these angry shirts for years. And I have not started selling angry shirts yet because I don't want to just sell angry shirts to brothers and sisters in the UPK. I want to start selling this angry shirt when people in the world are begging me for an angry shirt. When I make a angry black man media be something that everybody in the world is paying attention to, I'm going to sell angry shirts for $75 online. Then there's going to be a discount code box where you get to put in special Israel ISUPK code, and you'll be able to get these shirts for $25. That's the only reason why I ain't started selling angry shirts yet, because I don't want to have to charge Israel, so I can make my money back. I want to charge niggas in the world. I want to charge niggas in the world $75 for an angry shirt. You understand? The same way Nike go and make a shoe for $20 and sell it for $220. That's what I want to go capitalize on the world. And I want to be able to give a deal to my brothers and sisters in the truth. The reality is, if I started selling these shirts now, they would be $55 for everybody. Brothers in the truth, sisters in the truth, and outside the truth. But in my mind, it's crazy to ask somebody to pay $55 for a shirt. That's the only reason why I ain't sell them yet. But I want to charge people in the world $75 for a shirt and charge you $30 because you my brother, you my sister. I want to give you a discount. Everybody understands. That's what Paul's saying. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. Look out for the well-being of your brothers and sisters. I know y'all pockets is thin. I know y'all ain't making a whole bunch of money. I know y'all, we balls to the wall, excuse my language, with this little bit of bread we putting together to get to the Passover. We're going to all be at the Passover drinking and flying, having a good time. and having faith in the Lord that once we get back home, we're gonna pay these bills at the end of the month. But not even in a worry or a stressful thing. It's a wonderful thing. If there was ever something I could be broke for, let me be broke for being around my brothers and sisters. The spirit, the charge in my spirit I'm gonna get from the Passover is worth whatever debt I may incur. Everybody understands. But that's what Paul is talking about. Don't just be selfish. I look at these brothers, man. I look at all the brothers in the school and all the great ventures that brothers are doing outside of the school, and I think it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I look at brothers with the music. I can't wait to buy y'all music. You know what I'm saying? You selling this and that. I can't wait to buy whatever the thing is that you selling, because I know that it's putting money in your pocket. It's helping your family grow. It's helping your bank account be eased. You understand? And I know from experience the hard work that goes into providing some of these services for brothers and sisters. I know you working hard night and day trying to put this thing together. You understand? I know for a couple of years, man, I had a rib that, man, worked hard to make sure brothers and sisters could have some goods and services in this truth. And I know all of the hard work and the stressing and the worrying and the arguing that went into making it possible. You understand? And every bit of patronage that we got was well received, man, was well appreciated. That gad dust and all of that stuff ain't none of that's easy to do. These brothers and sisters making oils and body butters. Got about 5 oil salesmen in the school, about 5 body butter brothers, 5 sisters trying to, they got body scrub and goddamn shea butter and black soap. I wish I could buy it all. I can't though. But you know what I'm saying? I look out when I can. Everybody understands. That's what Paul's talking about here. Salakia. Verse 1 Corinthians 10 and 25. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles, that eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Not everybody got a nice storefront. Not everybody got a nice big, restaurant for you to go to. Some folks are selling plates out of their goddamn back door in the projects in the hood. You hear about Annie Mae's chicken and fried, chicken and waffles. Say, man, you heard about this Annie Mae's? No, what Annie Mae's at, man? I don't know, man, but I was seeing it on the TikTok, man, and Instagram. Annie Mae's chicken look good. Yeah, man, right over there in South Memphis. You go get the address. You see in this Instagram looking so delicious. Ooh wee, everybody talking about this Annie Mae's. You go to this address and you pull up in some neighborhood where, you wouldn't be found shot at. You like, what the hell is going on around here? You pull up and you see some little raggedy apartment that, and it's a sign that say Annie Mae's. You say, man, what the hell is going on here? I'm not gonna eat that food. Man, you better go get some of that goddamn Annie Mae's chicken and waffles. You better go in them projects and in that hood, and you go and you knock on that door and say, is this Annie Mae's? Listen, man, I seen y'all on the Instagram. Let me get a plate. Everybody understands. That's what this is talking about. You prefer your brothers and your sisters. Not asking anything for conscience sake, knowing that the Lord is with you, man. The Lord with me in this hood, going to get this Annie Mae's. I know nigga better not try to rob me around here. Nigga, listen, man. I promise y'all, I thank the Lord for the truth. It gave me a whole renewed type of spirit when it comes to moving around in the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to Captain Tall War. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Captain Tall War. Shout out to Gabaria Allah. Shout out to Captain Tazariak. You understand? These are brothers, man, I rolled with when I was young in the truth up there in Philly, man. Up there in Philly, Camden, New Jersey, and East Orange, New Jersey, rolling with them brothers. Man, we been in some bad spots, man. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Ooh-wee, man. We went to some rough places. Man. I gotta clip this. Gabaria Allah took us one time to this biker club in Camden, New Jersey. And I promise y'all, we was about 12, 13 deep 1 year before the Passover, man. Gabaria Allah took us to this spot, but this spot was such a hole in the wall. I mean, I'm talking about, man, gutter of the gutterest. And we was in there about 12 deep, Hebrew Academy jackets on, man. We going there. It was smoke filled in the room. We just in there like, man, what the hell is this place? But GB took us in there. You know what I'm saying? We was all Hebrew Academy jackets up and shit. You know what I'm saying? We chilling. And we had a good night, man. I had a hell of a night that night. I had good fun with my brothers in that biker club in Camden, New Jersey. You understand? But it was, it was what that club was in the shambles. They sold entertainment, and we bought that entertainment in the shambles. You understand? They was selling fun and sisters, and we bought that fun in them, and we bought our way into that establishment in the shambles. And you understand? And we didn't ask no questions for conscience sake. That's what the Bible talking about. Man, listen, that was a rough ass spot. So lucky. After that, we had to come up with a better way of choosing the spot, the hangout spot for the Passover or before the Passover, man. I'll never forget that though. Because I'm the type of cat, coming into the truth. I'm young. I was young in the truth, like my second year in the truth. And I remember this like when we first started really hanging out, you know what I'm saying? It's at the Hebrew Academy. Man, I remember GB took us to that spot. We was in there like, man, what the hell is going on in here? Al-Shaparian was in there. We was in there. We had a good time, man. We danced, man. We had fun that night. There's some brothers that ain't no longer here, man. Ain't no longer in the school. They dropped their sword, man. But we was in there heavy that night. Man, we had a good time. But that was, in the shambles. We didn't ask no questions for conscience sake. We just enjoyed ourselves that night, had a good time. Salakia. That's the Lord talking about. Verse 26, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Anywhere you go in the truth, man, the Lord is there. The Lord is with you. He got you. I brought up that story to say, when I came in the truth, rolling with them brothers, man, they showed me that you can go anywhere and be good in any hood. I used to roll through Philly with Captain Todd Ward, and there'd be spots we would go hang out. I'd be like, man, I'd never come over here in my mind. Never said nothing to Cap, because I'm a cool nigga, you know what I'm saying? So we stepping up, we going in the spot, but in my head, I'm like, man, damn, shit, hell we going? It's in the darkness, in the alley, we pulling up, parking in the alleys and shit. I'm like, man, Cap hardcore. We used to go up in them spots and chill, man, have a good time. Man, me and Captain Todd used to have some time, man. Used to have some fun back in the day, man. Just me and Cap out drinking each other, just having a good time. Then Cap used to have to drive me, man, 40 minutes out the way to drop me off, man. I was a real brother, man. Captain Todd Ward, salute to Captain Todd Ward, man. He used to hold me down back in the day, man. I love that brother, you know what I'm saying? But that's what the Lord talking about. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to be afraid of nothing. You don't have to question anything. You understand? Because you know that the Lord is with you. Everybody understands. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 27. If any of them that believe not bid ye to a feast, and ye be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Everybody understands. If anybody bid you to a feast and you want to go, go. Eat what they got. You understand? Meaning what? Don't ask, did y'all sacrifice this to idols? Did y'all pray over this food? You ain't got to worry about none of that, man. It's just food. You understand? You go to somebody's wedding, and there's food there, as long as it's lawful. You make sure ain't no pork, ain't no shellfish in this, ain't no tuna, nothing like that, man. Eat and have a good time. You go to that goddamn feast and have a fun celebration. Everybody understands. You want to go to the goddamn chili cook-off in your city. You go to that goddamn chili cook-off and some Arab is selling some chili. You just say, hey, man, this kosher. Ain't got no pork in it, nothing like that, right? You know, I don't eat no pork. I don't eat no shellfish. I follow the diet. I follow kosher laws, dietary laws. They say, oh, no, man, Flint is good. Man, eat that goddamn food. Ain't nothing wrong with eating that food. You go to some, Oriental, what is it? I don't know, some Pacific Asian Heritage Month. They having some goddamn cookout or some festival in your city. You want to go grab you a plate of some Asian Pacific food. You just make sure it's lawful you eat it. But don't be going in there asking, y'all ain't worship over this, did you? You ain't pray over that. You ain't got to do all of that. Everybody understands. Verse 28, but if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. If anybody come and say, yeah, man, they prayed over this food, man. This is the Lord Jesus Christ food, and you don't eat that food. Or they prayed over this. This is the food that's dedicated to the God, Gibbity Gop. And you say, oh, I don't eat no Gibbity Gop food, whatever the hell Gibbity Gop is. You for your conscience sake, you do what you know is right. Somebody tell you something, yeah, man, hell, it could be they got brownies. Hey, man, some brownies here. All right, you make sure it's lawful brownie. But somebody say, yeah, man, it's a weed brownie, man. You can't eat that brownie. No, I can't handle that weed brownie. Everybody understands. You gotta be, you know what I'm saying? You gotta know that what you're doing is right. Know that what you're doing is righteous and the Lord and is not going to cause someone to stumble. Everybody understand? All right, verse 29. Conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other. Don't think about how you thinking about it. Think about how they're thinking about it. Somebody watching you eat something, you bring you a plate, they watching you eat. You understand? Like I said, dinner is dinner every night of the year. Grandma made some, Christmas dinner. They want you to come and hold hands and pray, and you better not partake in none of that. That's sinful. But you just having a plate of food to eat is not sinful. Everybody understands. But if you know somebody might question you about it, you go that same December 25th, you at your grandmama's house and there's food being cooked, and you go get you a plate. And somebody say, "Oh, you eating Christmas dinner with us?" You say, "Nah, never mind. Nah, I'm not eating Christmas dinner. I was just looking at the food." Them asking you if you eating Christmas dinner is like, "Oh, you joining us?" Well, nah, now I can't, motherfucker. I was gonna get me a plate, but now I can't get a plate because you think I know that you think I'm eating Christmas dinner. Hell no, nah, I'm not eating Christmas dinner. Mommy, put me a plate to get side for tomorrow. I'll eat tomorrow, but I'm not eating no Christmas dinner, nigga. Everybody understands. It's that type of. That's what he's talking about. Not how you feel or what you think about it, but what the next person might think about it. That's what's important. You don't want to influence or affect a brother and sister with your unconscious behavior, with you doing things that you think is okay, but knowing that they think it's not okay. That's what you got to be careful for. Everybody understands. Reading on in verse 29. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience? For if I by grace be a partaker, why am I evil spoken of for that which I give thanks? Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do it all to the glory of the Most High. Give none offense neither to the Jews nor to the Gentiles, nor to the church of the Most High. Even as I please all men in all things, not seeking mine own profit, but the profit of many that they may be saved. This is Paul talking about all that he does in the work of the Lord. Everything he does in the work of the Lord is not for himself, but it is for the profit of others that they may be saved. That is the reason why we don't tell you to, and that's the reason why these tithes that y'all sending here don't go to, get brothers brand new cars, get brothers a nice big house. You understand? During the days of the prophets in the book of Acts, when they turned all their money over to the prophets, that money was distributed so everybody had what they needed. That brother with them 3 wives and all them kids, he needed a bigger house than the brother who had 1 wife and they didn't have any kids. That brother who had, was taking care of his mama and his daddy and had his wife and his kids, he needed a little bit more help and assistance than the sister who was, by just the 2 young girls, or the young boy and the young girl who didn't have their parents no more and had their own place. They distributed based on what people needed. And that's where we are today. You understand? We have got to get back to reestablishing that type of spirit and that type of camaraderie with one another, to where we not thinking about ourselves and what we need. We thinking about one another. And I tell you, we got that down here in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? That's Sister Shakaya. Every time she out doing something, she call and check on everybody to see what they need and see if they need something. That's the spirit that Paul is talking about. You understand? And I know there's other brothers and sisters across the nation who get that same spirit. That's a righteous spirit to have. That is a brotherly, sisterly spirit to have. That is the spirit of Christ breaking bread for us to remember him every time we coming together to eat. That's the work of the Lord. Everybody understand? All of these things that we do that are selfless, all these things that we do to care for one another, to look out for one another. What are we doing those things for? We doing those things for the Most High, man. We doing those things to glorify the Most High and doing it out of love for our brothers and sisters. Why? Because our King showed us how to love. Because our King showed us how to be a brother. Everybody understands. And that is what the work of the Lord is built on. Everybody understands. The truth is the work of the Most High. And with that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out the truth of who they are, where they come from, and what their purpose is here on the earth. Salaki. For brothers and sisters in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, you got family, loved ones, people you care about, get them in contact with the ISUPK. Send them here through this school, man, so they can get the leadership and the guidance and the counsel that they need in order to become the men and the women that God called them to be. With that, that ends the class. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Israel Shalom.